Hi, welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and today I have 3 locked room mysteries for you. I love locked room mysteries, so that just means it's just a trope in the mystery genre, and that means that a body is found in a room that is locked from the inside, and the people who find them or the detective cannot figure out how the murderer got out of the room. And so, I mean, those are great, right? And quite often locked room mysteries are kind of lumped in with impossible crimes. There are a lot of similarities there. And I just really enjoy them, because there's more of a puzzle. I think that's why I enjoy them. So you've got the mystery of who the killer is, but on top of that, it's also how did they do it? How did they kill the person and get out of the room without getting caught? And so I quite enjoy those style of mysteries, and I've got 3 maybe locked room mysteries for you. And to start with, Death Knocks Twice by Robert Thorogood. This is a Death in Paradise mystery. Robert Thorogood is the creator of the TV series, which I love. They are set on an island in the Caribbean, in a town called on the island of Saint Marie, and it's just mysteries that are being investigated by the detectives on this island, and they are such a great series. I love the TV show, and this is the second of the books that I've read, and I love them. They're very Agatha Christie-esque. So if you like that style of mystery, you'll probably really enjoy these. And they are often locked room or impossible crimes. And Death Knocks Twice is definitely a locked room mystery. Now, don't worry, I will not spoil any of these books because I don't want to. I want you to read these books and get that enjoyment out of them of seeing if you can solve the puzzle before the detective does. So in this case, in Death Knocks Twice, D.I. Richard Poole is contacted by someone from the Beaumont family. Lucy comes to say that she thinks that there's someone been following them, and so they go to the coffee plantation. Her family runs a coffee plantation, and to see if they can find this person, she's going to show them where this man has been following them. And while they are there, they hear a gunshot, and they go running to the shower room. It used to be a drying room, but it had been renovated into a shower room, and the door is locked. They have to bang it down, and they get inside, and there is a body lying on the floor, the gun by his hand, and the shower is on and the water is running, but the body is blocking the way to the drain, and the water hasn't gone all the way to the drain yet. And so it would appear on first observance that this man committed suicide. What else could have happened? He was in the locked room. It was locked from the inside. There was one window that was bolted from the inside. It must have been suicide, until they noticed that there are 2 bullet wounds, and the other bullet wound is in his hand, the hand that he would have used to shoot the gun. And so right away, D.I. Richard Poole is thinking, it can't be suicide, but how could it have occurred? And this was a great story. I really enjoyed it. I did not guess. I guessed some of the things, but I did not guess all of it. And as you can tell from the title, that there is another murder partway through the story, and I gave this one 4 stars. I would highly recommend this book or this series, actually, if you can get hold of any in this series. They're really, really enjoyable. So if you're looking for a good modern day locked room mystery, Death Knocks Twice by Robert Thorogood is a great place to start. Then I read Next of Kin by Mignon G. Eberhart. This is one of her later books. This was written in 1982, and she has quite a lot that were from like the 40s and 50s, and I have a couple of those and I'd like more of them. But this is one of her later ones. It's set in New York, and it is the story of Stuart Channing, who is a former senator, and he is about to leave for Washington for a cabinet post, and he is found dead in his study on the night of a party. Him and his wife are hosting a big party in their apartment in New York, and I think it's for Valentine's Day. Stuart Channing's brother, and I forget what his name is, although they call him Chan, arrives late to the party with another character called Maddie Smith, and they arrive late. Most, if not all, of the guests are gone, and the I forget her name, Stuart's wife, what was her name? Letty. She had just come back she had gone to the store to get something for her husband to eat. He didn't like, kind of, I guess, the food that was offered at the party. And so she came back, and anyway, they discover Stuart Channing shot dead in his study. The door is locked. So again, this is another definite locked room mystery. How did the killer, shoot him and leave with the door locked behind him? So this is another example of a locked room mystery. This one, however, I only gave 2.5 stars to. And the reason for that was because I found the end very unsatisfying. I have a very definite idea of how I like mysteries to end, especially this style of mystery, and for me it was unsatisfying, so I gave it 2.5 stars. But it was definitely a locked room mystery. I did not guess the killer or the reasoning, and so that way, like, it was very cleverly plotted. I just didn't like the ending, and so this is another good example of a locked room mystery, Mignon G. Eberhart's Next of Kin. And then finally, the Chinese Orange Mystery by Ellery Queen. Look at this cover. Isn't that fantastic? The skeleton reading a book. I love that. So, Ellery Queen is the pseudonym of a pair of writers. They were cousins, and they wrote a lot of mysteries starting in possibly the late 20s, but for sure the 30s, and they wrote all the way up into the 60s or 70s. Possibly towards the end, it was different people writing under the pseudonym of Ellery Queen, but initially it was these two cousins. And I like their books that have the character of Ellery Queen in investigating. So they're set again in New York City. Ellery Queen is a younger man. He's a detective, he's like a consulting detective, kind of. His father is a detective in the New York police force, and so Ellery Queen gets himself involved in cases. And in this case, the Chinese Orange Mystery, this turned out to be not quite a locked room mystery, but it was fascinating. So it's set in a hotel in New York called the Chancellor. And here is a map at the beginning, which is great because this was really important to help you understand the story and what happens. And so on the 22nd floor of the hotel, there are some suites where people live, but there is also an office. So Donald Kirk has an office, and there is a waiting room to his office. So the waiting room has a door that you can access it from the corridor. You can also access it from Donald Kirk's office. And because there are two doors, this is why it's not technically a locked room mystery. the door between Donald Kirk's office and the waiting room was locked, but the door from the corridor into the waiting room was not. So it's not technically a locked room mystery, but I would say it could probably be better identified as an impossible crime mystery. So Donald Kirk runs a small publishing house, but he also has a few big hobbies. And so one of them is stamp collecting, and then the other one is, and I'm not sure, but he keeps the offices primarily for those people who want to come and see him for those hobbies will come to his office. And he had a clerk or an assistant, and the day of the murder, a man shows up in the office asking to see Donald Kirk, and Donald is not there. And so the assistant sends him into the waiting room to wait for Donald to come back. The man does not give his name. He says that it's confidential. And then later, he is discovered dead in that waiting room. Now, the door between the waiting room and Donald Kirk's office has been locked from inside the waiting room, but it's the rest of it that is just thoroughly crazy. So when they find the body, all of his clothes have been removed and put back on him backwards, to the point where like his jackets was taken off, his suit jacket was taken off, put on backwards, and then buttoned all the way back up. His shirt, everything, all his clothes were put on backwards. Everything in the room that was movable was reversed or inverted. And so the sofas were turned around so that they were backwards. There was bookcases in the room that were turned around so they were backwards. Absolutely everything. If there was a lamp in the room, it was turned upside down. And so absolutely everything that could be moved was backwards in the room. And then there had been on the wall some crossed spears, and those spears had been removed from the wall and run through the gentleman's pants and shirts, out through the collar, like one by each leg, so that he was like, I mean, what? It was crazy. Like, it was the craziest crime scene I think I have ever read about. So why on earth was everything backwards in the room, and why did nobody hear it? I mean, there were people in the hallway. There was, the assistant in the office. A number of people came in and out of the office throughout the afternoon. So then, of course, Ellery Queen is set to investigate and figure out, first of all, who is this man? Because everything that could possibly identify him had also been removed. Who was this man, and how was he killed? Who did it? So it's not technically a locked room mystery, but it would be, I would say, an impossible crime. So I'm going to count it in this video. This was great. I really enjoyed this one as well. I gave it 4 stars. I did not guess what was going on in this book. It was really enjoyable, and this was I believe from 1934. So there you have it. 3 very different locked room mysteries, sort of. These 2 are definite locked room mysteries, and the Chinese orange mystery, I would say, would be better classified as an impossible crime, but it was sort of locked room. So, do you enjoy locked room mysteries? Have you read any of these? I'd love to hear what you thought about them in the comment section down below. And if you have a locked room mystery to recommend to me, I would love to hear that as well in the comment section below. And I will see you for another video soon. Bye!